this is going to be tough to hear, but you're not doing enough right now. I sent him one of my recent TikToks, and he ripped it to shreds. I needed to make some investments if I want to be successful in this. Approach it as a content creator and not just as a streamer that makes content.
All right, Preds, let's start this off with a food question.
Okay.
I need to know how you like your potatoes. What's the best way to have a potato?
Okay. I'm going to go with mashed potatoes here.
Ooh.
I think the reason that I like mashed potatoes is, Thanksgiving time, situations like that. It's a little more flexible, right? Like you can eat it faster. You could put it with more types of dishes, and then you throw some gravy on that. It's good. So I'm gonna go mashed potatoes.
It is flexible, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Flexible.
I like them. I like them cut up, like sliced into little slices, right? And then you put them on the fry pan, bit of oil, bit of salt. I don't know, something about that. Just yeah. I feel like that can go with anything. Yeah, I could eat easily a lot. Yeah,
that's true. I guess technically, you could say French fries too, in a roundabout way.
See, I think potatoes like the most flexible food you can go. There's so many different ways you can cook it.
And then if you count sweet potatoes in it as well, you got a little more of a healthy option, I guess. Although I don't know if you would count that, but.
Yeah, there's a wide variety of potatoes.
Yeah, definitely.
Speaking of wide variety, I've noticed that you have a lot of socials, man. You have a wide variety of content on a wide variety of platforms, and I'm very impressed by it.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's been a grind.
It's been a grind. I think we know each other through Twitch circles.
Yeah.
I can't remember how we found each other, but yeah, I've seen you around the timeline just a lot for a long time.
Yeah, I think it might have been. We might have actually been in Z's chat or something like that at one point.
Yeah, that's probably
definitely used to watch a lot of Z. I mean, I know you're a mod in there. Unless I'm bugging, but I know that I used to be in Z's chat a lot because I like watching him to improve at the game, and so I'd always throw on his stream and stuff. And I think I'd seen you, and I think it might have been Kingly and then Miguel in there as well, a few other people maybe, but.
No, that sounds about right.
I think it's very interesting, man, how you can meet people through the Warzone community and through Twitch and YouTube and all of that. It's super fascinating.
Facts. I think that was probably around the time of COVID as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Would have been. Is that how you found Twitch? Was it just trying to improve a COD, or how did you get watching that platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I had never played an FPS or Call of Duty game ever. It's 2020. My school had just gone remote. It's April or May-ish at this point. And I bought an Xbox and a TV because I was kind of bored. I didn't have a console or anything like that. And I only had ever had an Xbox once. So, I had never played COD because we just didn't really have the console when I was younger. And my parents weren't the biggest fans, and I didn't care too much. But one of my buddies was like, yo, you need to download Modern Warfare, play with us, dude. It's a pandemic, no one can see each other, hop on the game with us. And I'm just like, dude, Call of Duty? I'm like, I've never played this. I don't want to play this game. And he just sort of pestered me over a day or two. And I caved pretty easily, coughed up the whatever, $70 it was for Modern Warfare, downloaded it. And I absolutely hated it, man.
Really?
Absolutely hated it because, I was so bad. I had never played an FPS game before.
Yeah.
But I think what hooked me on it, I don't know what it was. I think it was just at first I didn't really want to play. But after a while, after I got a few eliminations in Warzone, I don't know, dude, I was hooked. Because I was so bad, I wanted to get better. I was super motivated by it because I was trash at the game, bro. I was terrible. I couldn't get a kill if the dude was literally a bot. I had a 0.2 KD, man. A 0.2. I was terrible. And they were picking on me, my homies and stuff. And we would all, we would land prison in Verdansk and, set up our claymores with our HE. When the game first came out, everybody played like a rat. And we didn't know at the time just how much like campers we were and how much of rats we were.
Mm.
But dude, it was like a certain point I got hooked, and then I started playing solo duos. I started like, and then literally like 2 or 3 months in, you know, after just playing like hours upon hour, like I got hooked. And one of my friends was like, dude, how are you getting so much better at COD so quickly? I'm like, I'm just motivated, dude. It's the pandemic right now. Like, and then, you know, sure enough, here we are now about 2 years later. So
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I think that I think when your friends start roasting you about something, about being bad about something, that really sparks you. I was the same at like at FIFA back in the day. I'd never played like a FIFA game before, and we used to hang out after school. It was a way to catch up after we finished high school together, and it was just I used to get roasted because I was so bad at it that I just went out and bought the game in private, just practice, and yeah. But I feel that about COD too, because it was a way to try and just keep up and socialize with people because you couldn't go out and see anyone.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's no socialization. Work had really slowed down for me. My job hours can be a little bit demanding, but with the pandemic, I had a lot of flexibility. I was only working from about like 7:45 to like or 8ish a.m. To like 4:30. And before, you know, with the commute in New York City, you know, the job was taking up like 11 plus hours some days, without the commute like weighted into it. So once the pandemic hit, it was crazy because I had so much free time. So I was able to like work out and read and do all that stuff, which, you know, I need to get back more consistently into doing all these things. But like COD was something that I actually had time to do. Now it's like I don't really know if I even have as much time, but I make the time. So
no, you were definitely committed. I've seen that. But how did you get started into making videos and streaming and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. It all started about a year in. That was when my friends started to lose interest in Warzone, as a lot of people did. You know, they started to it was getting boring, whatever. And before that point, though, when they were still playing pretty much every day, like we were all playing every day, one of my friends was like, dude, you should actually like stream while you're playing. It'd be kind of funny to see like you raging and stuff like that, and and like some of the deaths and stuff that you had. And at the time, he wasn't wrong, because it was just like I was going maybe a little bit too hard on the times that I got eliminated or whatever it is. Everybody has those moments, like you die to a camp or whatever.
Oh, for sure.
But about a year in, I started streaming and competing in Z League tournaments to try to get better. So two of my friends, they were both my roommates at the time, that were playing Warzone seriously. I had to actually stream to play in the tournaments.
Okay.
So yeah, Z League and some of these other sites, they make at least one person stream. And I was like, might as well be me, right? But at the time I was on Xbox, so I literally just had a camera hooked up to my Xbox. I would just text some of my friends and family, hey, I'm going live in Warzone if you want to watch me. And all I had was a camera, console. Super low quality. Like the mic was terrible. You couldn't even hear my teammates at the time. Like that's how bad it was. It was so bad. But I just started getting addicted to like streaming at that point. Like once I went live a few times and just had like the thrill and like the fun of like trying to entertain people and communicate with the chat. But you know, at the time I was only averaging, you know, like 3 to 4 viewers, and they were just all real life friends or family, and they would just throw the stream on. So, you know, there wasn't like anyone was really chatting, and I was maybe having 1 to 2 people a night if I was lucky, like find the stream or comment. And my stream was super low quality, so it's like I wasn't really expecting many people to, you know, stay in the stream. But I, you know, sort of kept going and started like posting on TikTok and not YouTube yet, but really just TikTok and Instagram. But all I was doing was really just posting clips. And, you know, I was getting some views from like real life friends because I had followed all of them. So I was getting views on Instagram and TikTok, but it was honestly just a lot of like people I had met through COD, like other like fellow COD players that I had run with, or just friends.
Yeah.
Then there was a certain point, I want to say it was probably around, let's see, it would have been a year ago around this time. I decided I wanted to take streaming a little more seriously. So about a year ago. So I started streaming in I think it was February of 2021, but I didn't start creating content until like October of that year. And then and the content was super bad, man. Like it was barely content. It was super low quality. It was mainly just like clips, and it was like, have you ever done this clip? Just like basic clips. There wasn't much to it. Like I wasn't even doing loadout videos really. Like that's how bad it was. Like it wasn't really adding value. So I was realizing that my TikTok wasn't really going anywhere. And I was thinking to myself, kind of like what people think when they start out of like, oh, is TikTok suppressing my views, or like what's going on here? Like I feel like these videos aren't that bad. But then I started realizing, no, they actually kind of are that bad, like compared to like some of the other videos. And I started like following some other creators. And one person that I ran into, and this is kind of a funny story, is another creator, Cuppa Joe.
Yep.
I don't know if you've seen his stuff, but
I've heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the #1 rebirth resurgence coach is his like title. So I ran into him on Twitch, and I had watched countless creators. I had watched people like Z and Joe for like getting better at the game, but they also had good content as well. And I was seeing sort of what they were putting out. And Lucky Shamu is another person. Crowder,
yep.
Wagnificent, was watching a bunch of people like that. But Cuppa Joe was on Twitch, and he had about 15 to 20 viewers on a nightly basis. And I was like enjoying watching his stream and stuff. And he said that he was a teacher as well in his title. I thought that meant he was a teacher like myself, but it turns out he was just saying that he likes to teach people about rebirth.
Yeah.
But I joined his Discord, and I just shot him a message. I was like, hey bro, would you want to run some games sometime? Here's some of my like videos if you just want to see like my general skill level or vibe, but just let me know if you'd like to. And he said, yeah, he'd be down to. And this was kind of like one of the turning points. Then there's another one that I'll share. So I ended up playing with him. It was like one of the best nights of COD that I had ever played. We were running. I broke my PR that night, and we were splitting off from each other. We don't really play as teammates. Yeah. And I knew that he didn't play that way, and that's why I was like, maybe it'll be a good sort of like match. And yeah, the first game on, like both of us dropped like 15 and 20 kills. And then later in the night, I dropped my PR at the time, which was like 24 or something like that.
Perfect timing.
Oh, it was such a good night of games, and like I felt like the vibe was good. So we ran pretty much like every week. We were running 2 to 3 times a week. I was getting to see his videos. I was in some of his videos, but I just liked the fact that he was posting content. I could see his content, and I was sort of making a friendship with a creator who was like super serious about it.
Yeah.
Because at the time, a lot of my friends that were streamers, like they weren't really treating it that seriously. They would come on like maybe once or twice a week, and the way that like they were typing in, like they just weren't treating it as seriously. They were not like building a community in the same way, and it's like something just felt off to me.
Yep.
In that way. And I only had one other like homie who was a streamer that I was like playing consistently with, and then like he had a kid, so he stopped playing. And so it was like, okay, maybe I found a creator that I can truly, enjoy playing with. And then I met Grumpy Hog that night as well, who's another creator. So I sort of made 2 friends that night. And then that sort of went on. I played with Joe, and then I met T Captain X and started playing with him and Joe. And I felt like I was learning a lot from both of them. Like I'm actually super thankful for both of them, because they gave me a lot of advice on content and sort of like how to grow on YouTube. They might not even realize like how valuable their advice was and their friendship.
Yeah. Facts.
Joe ended up even coming in and talking to my students at one point, as did TCAP on Zoom, because some of the kids, you know how kids are, like they find stuff out, whatever. I had told some of the graduating kids or whatever that I had streamed, and it had been passed around. So then of course I talked about it with the kids. I just, they bring it up in a lesson. I'm like, guys, we got some history to learn here, but recess, ask whenever you want, whatever. I'm not trying to like self promo in the class, man. I feel like that's a little weird.
Yeah.
But so it was definitely an interesting time. They came in and talked to the students. Like it was super cool to see like both of the worlds collide there, so to speak. But a little bit before that, there was another turning point, and I'll share this because maybe someone's watching this, that wants to become a content creator, but they feel like they're not really getting traction.
Yep.
I feel like that's a lot of people out there. Like they can't really like get started and really get that growth. There was a point where I was like scrolling Twitter, and you might have heard of the creator Corrupt.
Yep. With a K?
So yeah.
Yeah.
So he's the guy who makes the breakdown videos with the smooth text and the smooth like one-liners, the quick scopes. And I had seen his content a lot. I was following him. I was following a lot of creators, but I didn't really like, I didn't have too much familiarity. But I followed him on Twitter, and he actually put out a tweet that was like, hey, if you're a small creator that wants advice and wants to get better, truly DM me. And so I'm seeing this like 6 a.m. on the way to work. I had just woken up, kind of rough, didn't really sleep the night before. That was the trend for like the whole month. I was making tons of videos. Like I was really trying, but I wasn't really gaining traction. And, I felt like my videos weren't really good. And I was like, let me message this guy, see what he says. He replied, pretty quickly. And I sent him one of my recent TikToks. And he ripped it to shreds. Or like he absolutely ripped it to shreds. And he's like, now if you're truly serious about this, like you're going to make these changes. And I'm like, I got you, man. I'll make the changes. You're totally right. He's like, you have to be honest with yourself, man. This is going to be tough to hear, but you're not doing enough right now. And so, and the thing is, in that moment, you can either just get discouraged and you can be like, oh man, like maybe I'm terrible and this isn't for me. Or you can say, I'm going to make the changes. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to put in even more work. And so luckily I've had really good mentors. Like my parents were always good about this, about just like taking feedback and criticism. And that's one of the biggest things of like really any career, right? Like anything, if you can take that criticism and feedback, it's going to make you so much better. So in that moment, Corrupt did something super nice for me. I would send him for about 2 or 3 weeks. I was sending him a few TikToks and he was just ripping all of them to shreds for me. Like all of them. He was like, add a ding here, add an arrow, add better music. The music's too loud. The voice quality isn't good enough. Change your OBS settings. The game quality isn't good enough. So by the end of it, it had taken like a week for one TikTok, man. But it was one of the best TikToks I'd ever made.
Wow. And
I was sitting there like, yeah, this TikTok is so much better. And I sent it to TCap. I was like, hey, TCap, what do you think about this TikTok? And he replied, dude, I'm like, it's fine, but it feels like it's corrupt. It doesn't feel like it's anything unique.
Not your touch.
It just feels like it. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a good point. Like it literally like, it feels like a copy paste of corrupt. And even to this day, I still get people commenting. I get a lot of comments where it'll be like, oh, you sound like corrupt, or your videos look like T-Captain, or your videos look like Rabeezy, who's another YouTube creator who does gas plays. Like, oh, you're like Cup of Joe when he first, like, I get a lot of comparisons, but I do feel like now I have a little more of like a unique style and like feel to the content. Whereas when I first started, like that was completely absent, and that's the part that like escaped me is I think people forget when you're a content creator, right? You are an artist. And so when you're making these videos and every video has a personal touch and personal meaning to you, if it doesn't, and you haven't found that style, then that's maybe why people aren't connecting with your content, because it doesn't feel like it's unique or your personality is really, shining forth in it. And so that's one thing for maybe new creators that I would say is remember that you're an artist and each piece of work has to get better. And it eventually will if you put in the work, but it doesn't happen overnight. Like Picasso didn't wake up just, painting masterpieces. And when it comes to like other people that have been super successful and influential in the world, like, Einstein with the theory of, like, you don't just wake up and create these things and just poof. It takes a lot of failure. And I had a lot of failures, man. And even on YouTube long form, I'm still sort of like learning and getting the ropes and trying to find that like personality where it really feels like my video is unique to me.
Yep.
Like if you boot up like TCap's videos or Sally is a Dog or like Iceman Isaac or like Joe, all their videos have that like unique personality feel because the videos all sort of repeat the same template.
Yep.
And they have like something that makes it unique to them. Like Sally is a Dog with the spectate content, it's like the dark humor, and like the subtlety and sort of like the smoothness. And then if you go in Jowo's video, it's like that like very calming presence, but as soon as he gets in the game, right, he's chopping ankles and making jokes and stuff like that, and like a super like positive, vibrant guy. Like there's things that like people don't realize that's why people watch you. I got a question on TikTok. I didn't answer it because I don't really post content like this of like streamer advice. But someone asked me a question on TikTok that I could respond in a video. It's like that Q&A thing. And they said, hey, I have a 1.16 KD. Any tips for starting up my Twitch? And I mean, I'll answer that person here now. It doesn't matter what your KD is.
No, it doesn't. It does not.
Like, yeah, and you know all too well. Like, people are not gonna like. People could care less, right? Like, like yesterday, I played so badly for like most of the night, and you still have around 20 viewers because it's like people are there for the community. People are there for your personality. Now, it obviously helps to be super cracked at the game, and some people will just watch for the game, especially on Twitch, where you know you're surfing by games, but. Yeah, I think that's what when I was a creator, I misunderstood that. I thought it was all about game skill, and it's definitely not.
No, definitely not. Yeah, you touched on a few good points there. I think it is important to find your own style, like you said. And a lot of the content out there, especially when it comes to the thumbnails, the TikTok shorts, the YouTube shorts, even the long form content in terms of loadouts. It's very much there's a way you can copy people and you can put your individual spin on it. And I feel like the way to practice putting your own spin on it is finding content that you like, and then like you were doing, you're almost mimicking that content until you feel like you know what you want to add to it, and you switch it up and you make it your own.
Yeah. My first 100K video was so bad on TikTok. Like it was so bad. To be honest, bro, I have no idea how it got 100K. It was so bad. All it was literally like 3 quick scopes, and it was something like people have forgotten about the Swiss or Car 98, whatever it was. Literally got the kills with some sound effects, and then at the end, I just flashed the loadout, not for like a millisecond, but just like 2 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think people must have replayed it for the loadout, but that was back in the trend where if you literally put some sort of like weird clip, like it could be a 3-piece and then loadout for a millisecond, you would go viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
It was back in those days. And here's the thing, right? I thought that like all views were the same back then, and they're really not.
No.
Like there are... Like I might get 40K on a video. Like I posted a TikTok yesterday that got like 50K on TikTok, 50K on Instagram Reels, and then it got like 10K on YouTube. The watch time on it was pretty crazy. Like people were watching pretty much all the way through, but it was like a joke video about like how to control recoil, and the joke was like just pull down the thumbstick.
Yeah.
But people like enjoyed it, and you can tell because like the comments are like people are like that's funny or whatever, or you're always gonna have trolls and stuff like that. But I think for creators that, you know, if you're getting views, but they're not coming to your stream, or you feel like you're not growing a community, evaluate why that is, right? Like, why are the videos that you're making not doing well? I'll give you an example, too. I found a style or like a template that was working for me, like a series on TikTok. And it was like, I was trolling people about VPNs. I was like, do you feel like creators are using VPNs, blah, blah, blah? Well, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But do you want the bot lobbies too? Here's where they're VPNing to. And then I would just flash stuff like you're a bot, whatever at the end of it. Like I would go to my geolocation and just cover it with you're a bot. And I thought I was hilarious, but I was realizing like, okay, I'm actually doing nothing. I'm just wasting time because I'm posting low quality content. The video is not even high quality in terms of like how the game looks or how my camera looks. Like my camera's like 720p. The game looks like it's like 360p. And it's just kind of trash content, and it was getting views, and I had people like, yo, that content's doing fire, like other creators around my size. And I was just like, you know, man, I've got to divert from this. And that was one of the things that Corrupt told me is, dude, do you want to build a community? Do you want to make something out of this? Then this is what you're going to have to do. And very thankful to those guys and like countless others that have given me advice, helped me along the way. And it's been super cool just like through Twitter and some of these other mediums, just like connecting with so many different streamers. Like there was one point where being subscribed to Crowder for so long, he actually did a gameplay review on his channel of like one of my Rebirth games. And just feeling like I'm able to connect with so many streamers, it's a cool feeling. Like it's nice because it feels like, hey, I'm actually building something here. Whereas before, it's like I'm just playing COD. I don't really have a community. I haven't really connected with any other streamers. It was a lot more isolating, I would say.
No, definitely. And there is a certain, there's different ways you can go about it. Like you said, you can be one of those people who wants to build a community. You could be someone who really, it's just all about showing off mad, amazing, cracked gameplay, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
And that's fine too. Yeah. But it's each to their own type deal. But I really enjoy watching your content. It's a lot of helping people getting better, giving advice, and a lot of, a lot of people do look to improve, and I feel like you give a really good insight into, you been there yourself, how to improve.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I think that's a big part of the motivation, man. It's like, I used to be so terrible at Call of Duty, and I know there's so many people that maybe just started playing Warzone. I can't imagine that because the game's not in the state right now.
That must be so discouraging. Everyone's like really like had years of gameplay under their belt, and if you're starting now, you're like so behind.
I don't know right now how you could start and really enjoy it. The game is. It's funny because in theory, like, the game should be in the best state ever, right? Because the updates have fixed a lot of the quality of life. The meta right now is pretty balanced. Like, you can like yesterday, I don't remember saying, oh no, they had a blah blah blah, that's why I died. But everybody's aim and movement is just so good, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a lot of bad players left.
That's right. It's not really catered to that at the moment, but yeah, back in the day when we're all sort of starting out, finding our feet, you could definitely do a lot more different things that you can't get away with now.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And I think with Warzone 2, that'll be one of the biggest things, is just having a new, no slide canceling, not having the people that are like whying and stuff. It'll change things.
That'll definitely change the content scene as well. When did you go from figuring out, hey, I need to improve the quality of this? Because I know we all probably start out that 720p stream and the bad audio and all that kind of stuff. How long do you think it felt to take your quality to the next level, or to the level you're at now?
I think it was this summer. I was just reflecting to myself that I needed to make some investments if I want to be successful in this. And so I went all out. For months, I actually wasn't making anything on content or streaming. Like a few months ago, there was just probably a good 3 or 4 months. Once I left Twitch and went to YouTube, I actually wasn't making anything, but I decided to make the sacrifice. I said, you know what? I have a job. I don't need the money to pay the bills and student loans and all that and rent. I'm just going to make the switch to YouTube for the sake of community. Made the switch, have not regretted it. I think now with Twitch, with some of the changes, it's looked like a better move. But it was not necessarily an easy move. I've done, maybe 2 to 3 Twitch streams, like thinking, oh, maybe I missed out on this, but made the switch. And then in the summer, I realized, hey, if I really want to make my videos the best quality, I need to get a stream PC. I need to get a Go XLR. I need to get all this stuff so that I can make the stream the most engaging as possible if I maybe want to do this full time. I don't know if I'm necessarily there yet in terms of like not having another side job, but because I do enjoy working, but I think it is an aspiration of mine now, whereas it wasn't. So once I decided it was, that's when I decided to up the quality. So I went out, I got a Go XLR, I got a Shure mic. I actually have another mic that I'm testing that's coming in the mail too from Elgato. They have like a new XLR mic. Yep. So I have an XLR mic. I already had a Stream Deck, but I got a new Elgato capture card. I have 2 PCs now. I have a legit camera, which is what I'm using for this, and I use it for vlog content as well. So I decided to just really go all in, man, because think about it. It's just way too saturated now in streaming and content creation to not take it seriously if you want to succeed.
Yep.
You don't necessarily need all that stuff. Like, I can think of other creators that I'm friends with or that I've seen on my feed that I'm sort of acquaintances with. Their quality, I would say, isn't the best, but their content is just good. And so they get views. But I think for those people, the thing to know is that they actually started a little bit earlier, and some of them just have a really good personality and feel that is kind of hard to match. And if that's the case, or they're really good at the game as well, it's so competitive. So you need every advantage you can get. It's kind of like in Warzone. Like, for example, like I got a Scuff controller right here. I just held it up on the screen. Without that scuff, I'm not going to be able to compete as much as I could with a base controller.
Yep.
I could still drop great gameplays and I could still be really good at the game, but I'm going to be missing some sort of an advantage. And that's what I would say about all this other equipment and stuff. It's not necessary, but you need every advantage you can get.
No, 100%. And I've got your Twitch tracker up right now, so I can see roughly when you're talking about when you made the move to YouTube was around July this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying all that whole time, through 2021 and the start of this year, you were only on a single PC setup.
Yeah.
Creating all that, the content and streaming and doing all that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was on a 3060. So actually what I did was I made my old gaming PC, my streaming PC.
Yep.
The stream PC is actually giving me problems too. I actually blue screened yesterday. So, maybe the stream PC has lived through its best days, but
it's a bad sign.
Yeah. But, I have a gaming PC that's a 3080 now with an i7 and not, it's obviously not the best thing in the world. So don't go out and buy like the new whatever series card that's coming out from NVIDIA, or don't go out and buy like a $500 capture card if you can't. Like get what you can. If you can only get the cheapest Elgato option, like get that, but just invest in as much quality. I'm on 1440p on my streams now.
Yep.
So that makes a huge difference. And I made the switch to 1440p. I got a 1440p monitor. I did whatever. I pretty much don't make excuses. Like if I don't have the funds, I might even take it out on credit or in my account that I've created for streaming.
Yep.
I pay for thumbnails. I pay for all of that. I'm not taking shortcuts with it because I know that I have a job that, can support me in my other more urgent stuff. And then whatever I make on content, I'm just basically paying that back in the future. So, I've definitely made some purchases that are expensive and I wouldn't recommend for everybody, but in my circumstance, I was able to do it. And if you can do it and you want to be successful, I think that is what it takes. You have to be willing to do it. I do know some great creators that are on single PC setup. So I wouldn't say getting a dual PC setup is the first thing I would do, but down the line, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely should live within your means, looking to expand. But there's a lot of different ways you can get around buying a great camera or an Elgato branded everything. You can good lighting helps a lot, even with the basic webcam.
Yeah.
So,
I have one of those Elgato mini lights that's in my background, and I have these smart lights that I can turn on. So I have a bunch of different lights, kind of see it in the background of my setup. I mean, obviously you can't see my camera right now, but you'll see it. And I think how your background looks, that's definitely important. Make it look clean. I've gone in some streams, man, and it's just people have trash everywhere. And listen, my room is not always the cleanest, but it's not visible in the stream. So that's the thing.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, clean that up, man. No one wants to see that. And then clean up the little things. You don't have to get any fancy overlays. Just have it look clean and have something there other than just your camera. Add something. I add a controller cam a lot of the times and add different things that assist and just make it sort of personalized. And to be I'm not the first person to use a controller cam. TCAP uses one, and that's where I saw him use one first, and I was like, that's such a good idea. So that's, for example, something I borrowed from him. But you do have to be careful. There are times where I try to a different piece of content so that I'm not, copying someone or try to throw my own style. And right now, even I have this different series going where I do a little more of a documentary-ish weird style before I go into gameplay and things like that. So that's something I'm trying now, but that all to say, I'm on a tangent now, classic teacher.
No, that's fine.
The quality does matter, but no, you don't need to spend $10,000.
No, definitely not. No, yeah. I've spoken to a few people as well who are photographers who have amazing lenses on their camera that you would not buy. You would not buy it just for streaming, but they just happen to have that piece of hardware on them, so they make the most of it. So you can use what you got around the house as well.
Exactly.
You don't need, like you said, all the latest gadgets and everything. You can make do with a lot of stuff. But so you don't make your thumbnails. You outsource them.
Yeah, I do.
That's good.
I use the same one as some other creators do. His name is Shredder.
Yep.
He's super talented. Just really great at making thumbnails. I did try for myself, and I got an Adobe subscription to try it because I edit on Final Cut Pro, And I was like, yeah, I taught myself to edit. I can learn Photoshop. I used to know Photoshop a little more back in the day, but to make the quality of thumbnails that he makes, I was like, you know what? It's just worth it, man. Because if you have a poor thumbnail, no one's clicking on the video, and that click through rate is so important.
Yeah.
It doesn't just fix all your problems. Like yesterday, I had a great thumbnail in the video. Like it looked great. It was an awesome thumbnail, but people didn't click it because it just wasn't appealing to them. And the title was something like "Why You Die in Warzone" or something like that. And then I broke down how I died in like a 23 kill game and lost the 30 bomb. But it was like I felt good about the video, but even then, like just having a good thumbnail doesn't fix all your problems. Like you have to go into like what the title is or like what the purpose of the video more. And upon like rewatching the video and really thinking about it, it's like, you know, maybe that wasn't the best. And so then I go and I try to fix it for the next one, but always just send him a bunch of thumbnail orders for the week and he gets them really quick. So
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, I'm in that process now of learning. I enjoy the process of learning how to do the different aspects. Like I'm trying to work on my thumbnails and stuff like that. And it's really interesting how much goes into it. It's insane that you can really get lost in how much you need to really look at your thumbnails and stuff like that.
Yeah. He even gives me feedback of like, really our theory is you just need less on it than what I had been putting in the past.
Yes.
Like I would give him these super like weird thumbnail orders, like, oh, I want like me in like a Trojan suit and then this or that and this text and this arrow and new with the red like meta tag, whatever. And he's like, dude, that is not all fitting in one thumbnail. Like we need to really And he's like, and he's even said a few times like, I don't think that's a good idea visually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, please say something because
you know
graphic design.
Yeah.
You know graphic design, you know what it needs to look like. I'm just randomly spitballing ideas here. And so now I've started to get the feel of like what a good thumbnail has to have. But really just look at other creators. One of my better YouTube videos recently is literally just a copy and paste thumbnail from the bot to pro video that went viral. That has like 3 million views. Everybody's been copying that video. Like I just saw a Cup of Joe. He posted a video like yesterday that had bot to pro as the thumbnail. And it's not copying as long as you don't literally copy the video.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Everyone, that's one thing that people learn about YouTube is like when there's a trend, you hop on that trend and just as long as you're not copy and pasting content, you know, no one's going to be heard about it. So
yeah, it's one of those pride things too. You're like, no, I'm going to do my own thing. But then sometimes you realize you can't always just go off and do something. You need to follow what people want, kind of thing.
Yeah, you can build that in later. That's one of the things I realized is like incorporating loadouts into my videos. It's like those are things you kind of just have to do. Like if you throw a loadout in a TikTok and you put it up for a second, it's gonna get more views and interactions because people want loadouts in Warzone, and there's no getting around that. So don't make your content just all loadouts. Like here's a loadout and that's it. That can't be your video, but incorporate it into your video. So
no, that is actually something I wanted to ask you is how much do you plan your content? Do you plan ahead? Do you just have a schedule of what you want to do, or do you pick off what you do on stream and go off that?
So I used to do that a lot, was just pick off what I'm doing on stream. But now I actually try to sit down and chart out what my TikToks or like my short form videos and my long form videos for the week are going to be.
Yep. There
was a point where like 2 or 3 weeks in the summer, I had uploaded daily every single day, you know, when I didn't have my full-time job because we were on vacation. But upon coming back, it's been a lot harder. So I think like this past week I only got like 3 videos out or something like that. But it doesn't matter. It's all about the quality. So I plan them out, and I'll pick a loadout I'm going to do for that day or another type of content. Like last week I did Xbox versus PS4. So I took my PS4 controller and my Xbox controller, and I did 3 games with each of them and kept switching in between and comparing the different controller settings on all of them, you know, like changing up the controller settings and just seeing which controller I like the best. And surprisingly, this new like PS5 from AIM controllers that I got, it doesn't even have digital triggers. So that's like where it's like a mouse click.
Okay, yep.
But I ended up discovering that I was playing better with that controller for whatever reason, even though my Xbox is overclocked, the PS5 wasn't. And so I made several shorts and 2 long form videos out of it and 2 streams that had the thumbnail like with that idea.
Yep.
And I started up the stream, and that was the whole purpose of the stream. So all my discussions on the stream, I was catering it just to that. And I felt that my viewership was like, and like chat, I didn't peak at anything crazy. I think I peaked at like 25, 26 viewers, but everyone was super interested in the concept.
Yep.
And then on Shorts, that concept has probably yielded me like 900,000 views.
Yeah,
from
those
all
have
the
gone
shorts.
crazy. Yeah.
One of them's at like 600K, another one's at 100K, another one's at like 90K right now. And so if you go in with a plan right now, I've got 3 videos that are all like 100K or so on Shorts, and then on TikTok, they didn't do as well. They got, I think, like 40K or something like that, and like 20K. And the most recent one that I posted, I'd have to check, but I think it did pretty well.
Yeah.
But you go in with that specific sort of content, and then you plan out like, are there other videos that aren't necessarily things you can do on stream? So if there's like a theme that you can have to your stream for that day, I always recommend it, because then you can post in Discord and on your stream schedule, like, today we're using the kilo.
Yeah.
So if people know, oh, I want a kilo class, I'm going to go to that stream and watch them use it, and I can see the process and like what the actual games are, because everyone knows, okay, you drop a 20 on and post it on YouTube, whatever, like pretty much everybody's doing that. All the games didn't go that way, so then people can see everything with that gun and how all of it went, which I think is a lot more entertaining than just, hey, here's a 20 bomb with the kilo.
Yeah.
That's it. And a lot of creators are adding in more to their content now than just that anyway, like whether it be, here's what I was thinking with this rotation. Like, I did a commentary in my last one, and I threw some memes and stuff into it, and a little bit of editing. And I think that's super important, is to not just, post what you get from the stream, but go in with, how can I make content and like approach it as a content creator and not just as a streamer that makes content. Because there's a lot of people that aren't really content creators. They're streamers that also happen to make content. And some people only make content, and their only reason that they do it is they post clips to try to get people to their stream.
Yep.
And I've seen it several times on TikTok, like people posting videos that show up in my For You page. Why are my videos not getting views? Help. And it's like, well, you just posted like one quickscope, man. You didn't do anything with it. Even people who are editing their stuff aren't even, maybe they're not even popping off. So how are you going to pop off with just a quickscope?
Yeah.
So...
No, yeah. I feel that. I feel like you're speaking directly to me on that, because you do make content though, and that's the thing. I think I could be speaking to probably a lot of people right now. Oh yeah.
To my former self, I'm also speaking because that's how I used to think. I was like, yeah, let me just post some nasty clip, bro, on my TikTok, and then a bunch of people come through the stream. Yeah, it's competitive. It doesn't work like that. Just because you're posting a clip, like, people are going to want to watch you for the way you interact with the community and what's unique about you. Like, now it's like my community, like, they want more emotes, right? Like, they want a beard emote, and we have this joke about like the milkmen or something like that. Like, I don't even know what it means.
Yeah, I was wondering. I watched back one of your lives, and everyone was typing in ! Milkman. I was like, what? Where's this coming from? What's this about?
Bro, I honestly, one of my real life friends, he actually came and made content with me, and this kind of fits to your previous question. We planned on a Friday when the beta first released for only PlayStation. He brought his PlayStation. I plugged it into my setup. We got it up on the stream. The quality wasn't the best because my stuff wasn't set up for PS5, but we basically did the stream and we rotated games. So he was actually at my setup playing, and they got to sort of like meet him in person, except, not in person. But they actually saw him. And when I was heating up some food, like, I don't know what happened, but I feel like there was a joke about milk or something. No idea. I don't even want to know, to be honest. Yeah. I honestly don't even want to know.
You're probably best you don't.
Like yeah, and it's like, it's kind of like I feel like I'm teaching at this point, because it's like there's always some weird joke going around the room, and I'm just like, I'm just feeding into it. And people in the community, that like, once you start establishing a community, it's kind of interesting to see that the jokes and things like that come out of it that's unique to your community. I truly feel now, and a lot of people that are in my community, right? Like, they might have found me through other creators, or they might have found me through a YouTube short, whatever means. I have a lot of different people in there now. At a certain point in my community, it was only like super OG friends from Twitch, or like people that had been watching me since like the beginning, and they found me from like my early TikToks.
Yeah.
And then there were some people who, when I started playing with Joe and TCap, being that they're relatively large creators, and they don't probably get enough respect. People were coming over from their stream and were like hanging out. But in order for it to be your community, for people to want to stay, you kind of have to make it unique, and you don't want to approach it of like, stealing viewers, because I feel like that's probably a sensitive topic that people get into, but you have to be careful where you're approaching it from really trying to build out your own content. And that's hard to do because, my content, maybe a little less now, but like it still resembles others in a lot of ways, because it's hard to sort of find your own unique thing. So once you have that and you have that community coming in, they can say whatever jokes they want, right? I'm fine with it. It's our community. So it's cool.
I think that's one of my favorite parts. That's one of my favorite things when I go live and I see people that have been around for like since I started or a couple months in, and people who've been around for like a month or two, whether they know each other from other communities or not, and they're chatting and getting along with each other in the chat. I think that's the best. Yeah. It's the most rewarding part.
It's so good to see. Yeah. And getting messages. So I have people that are in my YouTube community, like one guy who did a super chat, which is like a dono yesterday. He found me through Facebook, actually, through Facebook Reels. And he came over and started watching on YouTube. And now he's in the Discord and all that. And he's like hanging out with the people that are from YouTube and the people that are from TikTok. And it's super cool to have everybody on YouTube. Yeah. Because there's so many options for creating community there. And I'm super excited about like the future of YouTube gaming. It's not better than Twitch, maybe in terms of like some features now, but in terms of building community, I think it's far better. And even like tweeting with like one of the guys who like is a YouTube gaming employee, like will even respond when I tweeted him. He'll like respond if I'm giving him feedback and stuff, which is like, there's no one from Twitch that would do that.
Yeah, that's like, cool.
Yeah. So it's like bringing everybody to YouTube. It definitely helps with the community. There's a lot more options. Like members, when they comment on your YouTube videos, they get badges there as well. Which on Twitch, there's no such thing as videos, obviously. Like really, I mean, there's clips and stuff, but like who's really going through like watching? Maybe people do. I could be wrong, but I've never.
Don't know.
I've never like scrolled through looking for clips except for from creators that I actually follow. So it's like there's no discoverability there, but YouTube, you can get discovered on YouTube so easily. And it takes a lot of effort to first start up a channel, but once you like get it started, it just starts rolling. So
that's really something that's popped off on the TL recently, last few weeks, with some of the decisions Twitch has made, and I've noticed there's a lot of now's the time to switch, or now's the time to start getting your foot in the door, start building a base on YouTube, because Twitch is pretty much shooting themselves in the foot with some of the decisions they make. And it's really interesting to see the different point of views. Like for me personally, I've taken the feedback from the people who've watched me experiment on YouTube live, and it's sort of like, this is what Twitch does better, and there's no getting away from that at the moment. But obviously if YouTube steps in the right direction and they keep making improvements, it's they've got all the capabilities, they got all the algorithms, they've been huge, and once that pops off, I feel like there's definitely a lot of room to grow on YouTube for sure.
Here's my take on the whole thing is I think that Twitch's chat and sort of like the fact that it has a separate live space with like channel points, like those are probably the three things. Is like having a separate live space, the chat has sort of like different emotes, and it's just a better chat. And then, of course, like it just being, you can easily see when someone's live, or on YouTube, it is harder to find someone's stream in terms of like, you go to their profile, it shows up when they're live, but outside of that, like, you have to scroll down and find their playlist that has old streams, which is fine when you get used to it, but
it doesn't look like it stands out too much. It just looks like another video, unless you're paying attention.
Yeah, it looks like another video.
Unless you have to look
for
what
that
you're looking
live
for.
In the title, and it will say like now watching, and that's about it. But if they create a new live tab on YouTube that is separated by games and has a way to find streams you're interested in. Because right now, if you go there, it's a bunch of random streams of people I've never seen, etc. I wish it would just be like people you're subscribed to and then recommended. Once it does that, it'd be really great. There's a lot of like viewers on YouTube that are never chatting. Like the other night, I had like 40 viewers, and I only have like 15 to 20 people actually chatting that I could see. And it might have been more when I was in the game, to be fair. Maybe they said one thing like hi, and I don't care if people are lurking, but there's a lot more lurkers on YouTube. Or actually, maybe I can't say that because there are a lot of lurkers on Twitch as well. But
it's hard to say.
It is hard to say. But the thing on YouTube, is if in the profile, and I know they're about to add this, they're about to add a separate shorts tab so that all shorts content is under a separate tab on your channel. And if they do the same thing for live content where you can put a schedule and what your next stream is going to be, for example, so people can click into it already, a schedule for future streams, and then all your past VODs, in addition to like when you're live right then, that would be a game changer if they had a separate live tab on the channel that had all that. Because then you go to someone's channel, you click into their regular videos, their shorts, their live, you have all three things right there. And I mean, those are the only three types of content you're creating anyway. It's short form, long form, and streams. So, you know, it's like that's all in one place, and that will be super interesting. So I hope they do that.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the feedback. And even like me trying to scroll through and lurk around finding YouTube streams, it's definitely not as user friendly. Once they clean it up, like you said, it's just clean it up a little bit, and it'll look a lot more neat, a lot like you know exactly what you're looking for. The only other thing, like you already touched on, was the chat. It probably doesn't feel... Twitch has got a certain feel about it when you go into a chat. It's very straightforward. Even the feedback, a few viewers said it's like, even on mobile or on your cell phone, you can't minimize the video and scroll another app like you can on Twitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Which is kind of interesting.
I think they might have fixed that.
They might have
fixed
fixed
me,
it.
but maybe it's because I have YouTube Premium.
That's probably what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even I do the same thing when I'm on my phone. Sometimes I scroll on Twitter while I'm watching someone's video.
Oh, so. I do that all the time. Yeah. I do that all the time. I definitely, and even now with YouTube, if you have iPhone, you can put it in like the picture by picture mode, and you can like just completely move it off your screen but listen.
Yep.
So sometimes I do that, but yeah, it's definitely doesn't have as many features as Twitch does, and I think with some changes, it could really be the go-to platform, and I think might take some time. I don't think smaller creators that have a decent base on Twitch, they necessarily need to hop, but if you want to establish a community on YouTube, if you want to grow on there, might be worth it, especially if you don't care about the income portion, because with memberships being a little bit newer and you not being able to purchase them on your phone, you have to be on desktop. Which hopefully they fix. It is a little more complicated to actually become a member and gift memberships, but once they fix that, I think the income off of streams on YouTube is going to go crazy. And at least when you're monetized, your streams can actually be listed later and then rewatched for ad revenue. It's like you can make money off your streams in the past, and I have some streams that well after they were posted, they get picked up in the algorithm and people start watching them. And that even happens to me. Like, I'll be watching a video and it will end and it will throw me into like someone's old stream, like from Westy or like another creator I know named Fireborn, and it'll just throw their stream on or something like that. And then it's like, now I'm watching one of their old streams. So it's super interesting.
Yeah, that is really interesting, because even personally, I've only streamed on YouTube twice, and they've been like an hour or two test runs playing a different game or whatever. But they have got almost as many views offline as they did when I was live. Which I don't know how. Like, I did put an effort into making a thumbnail and all that too. So I'm just wondering, like, it's really interesting the way you can. There's different ways on YouTube that you wouldn't necessarily look at on Twitch.
Yep. That's why YouTube really forces you to treat streaming like a piece of content, because you have to create a thumbnail, a title on Twitch. You can go live and say hi as your title, right? And the same amount of viewers are going to come in, most likely. Maybe not. Maybe some people browsing deep in the Warzone web or whatever, like will find you. But it's like, I think on Twitch, there are some people that are like, oh, to really pop off, you have to stream games that no one's watching. And it's like, I think that's the wrong approach. It's like, stream whatever game you want to play or you're good at, as long as you enjoy it and you want to make content in it. But treat it like when you're streaming, you're making content. And that's I think all that really matters when it comes down to it. So that'd be my best thing. You
definitely have that mindset that a lot of people don't have, which is that you want to make something out of it, and it's not really just you're going into casual streaming and you just want to stream for the sake of it. And TikTok here and there will be cool. It's just whatever I find. But you've gone into it like the content creation sort of mindset where you want to make the content out of it. So I think you and YouTube is a really good fit.
Yeah. I felt like YouTube was a really good fit for me as well, because I think on Twitch, right, there might, I don't know, this could be wrong, but I felt like there might be a little more high energy people type of thing, whereas mine's a little more educational.
Yes.
A lot of my streams.
Yep.
And so it's like, that's a good fit for YouTube, because why do you go on YouTube a lot of times? Oh, I need to learn how to do X, Y, Z. And I want to see it as a video. So yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Do you find that there's a crossover from your job into how you make content? Because I feel like you're very educational. You have a very clear way of explaining things and leading sort of your topic into, you know, a different avenue or explaining things. You know what I mean?
I think that being a content creator has made me a better teacher, and being a teacher has made me a better content creator. So when I'm teaching a class now, like for example, yesterday, I was sort of like preparing my lesson, and I was like, I need to make this a little more engaging.
Yeah.
And so what I did was I added some music in when we were doing a certain part of the activity. Some of the same music I've used in TikToks. And I tried to add more questions and more group work and engagement, because I'm almost thinking like it's a TikTok. If I don't have their attention, you know, in the first 30 seconds, I'm losing it, whatever, like I'm losing the lesson. In the same way, when I'm making content, if I don't make things concise and clear, I'm losing people as well, and they're not gaining anything from the content. Like I used to have content back in the day that I would just record it one and done, right? And then I would edit it. Like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Well, you better make time to redo it and make it better, because if you really want it to be better, everything's got to be super good and clear. You have that one bad line, or you know, that one part that you didn't really edit or put much effort into, it's going to show in the video. And like I have a video that's going up today with like a solo quad sort of like breakdown. And it took me a while to make it. Like it took me probably like a week of like messing around, like initially clipping up the part that I wanted to be in it and what I wanted it to look like and what some of the lines are. But I think it came up pretty decent, because it's educational, but it has some jokes, and sort of just like a little bit of like what it was like in the end game of solo quads. But it took me a little bit to make it, and that's okay. Like there's some videos I've put off for like a week or two to just keep tweaking them. Like one video that it only got around 3,000 views long form, which, you know, for me is actually pretty good in terms of like consistency. Like some of my loadout videos, when I was like really focusing long form, were only getting like 1,000 to 2,000. So this one got 3,000, and it was like a bot to pro type of video. So it was like explaining how I went from having like a 0.2 to now sometimes a weekly 4 KD, or like a weekly 3, and sort of copied that same template as Dreamstrike did, and sort of went through and made it a little more documentary styled, like really focused on the editing. I started planning that video in July.
Wow.
And I only posted it like a month ago. And so I didn't necessarily record or edit anything for that. Actually, that's not true. I scripted it like twice over. I went through and like re-scripted it twice. Then I recorded myself doing the actual script 2 or 3 times before I found the script that I actually liked. And this sounds crazy, but I only script stuff out when I'm like in the pre-planning of stuff. You know, I'll like script up an idea, and then I don't look at the script while I'm doing the content. I'm really adamant about that, because I don't want it to sound like it's scripted. Now, in some cases you might want to, like say it's an announcement video or a sponsorship. Obviously, right, you got to script that because they want specific language. But I go into it and I don't use specific language from the script. I just sort of state things in my own way. And maybe that's also where like the teaching plays into it, is when I'm on stream and, you know, someone asks me a question, like, how do I deal with this XYZ situation in the game? Or like, you know, I'm having a rough time balancing school and everything. Like, how do I do it? I have a way with words now, because I've been forced to, like over the years, like being in front of the classroom and, you know, kids, you're teaching a lesson on like 1900s America, and someone asks you like, what was this XYZ policy, or when did Teddy Roosevelt do this? If you don't know off the top of your head, like you have to have a response for that kid. And it's forced me to be more prepared and to think more in the moment about my wording, like how to word things better. And so that's definitely how the jobs have overlapped as well. But yeah, I like being a teacher and a content creator. I don't know how sustainable my current schedule is, though.
Gonna start making some thumbnails for the kids, get them on clicking on the content on online learning
in the classroom. Yeah, for sure.
No, that's really interesting that you say that, because it's sort of like I find that to be true about higher education learning. Like when you leave high school and you're going to college or university or whatever, it's not learning the content, it's not learning the facts of it. You have to really sort of engage with it and know more about it, and read into
Yeah.
the information more. So like you said, you could teach straight out of a textbook, but once someone asks you about like a more in-depth question about it and you're floundering, they switch off.
Yeah, 100%. You have to show that sort of confidence. And I've had a lot of opportunities for public speaking. Like I had a lot of internships. I interned at a software company, when I was like a junior going to senior in college. That taught me a lot, just about like being in the working world and being successful.
Yep.
They make like educational software. And so I thought, oh, maybe I'll work here. I did a lot of student teaching. I was a commentator in college actually for athletics.
Oh, wow.
So I commentated everything from lacrosse to soccer to baseball to, like every single sport. And then I also had a position where I like created like basketball leagues for like students and things like that. So I had a lot of working opportunities that, like, if you separate all those opportunities, right, they don't really mean much. But when you combine all the experiences that I've been able to have and I've been lucky to have, you have that opportunity. If you make something of it and you really gain skills from it,
Yep.
it does set you up for success and make a difference. And now, like, seeing where I am now at 25, it's like, okay, I've had all these experiences, XYZ. I want to make sure in content or like my job, whatever I'm doing, that I'm just taking advantage of every opportunity that I can.
Yep.
So,
and something you touched on earlier, which I thought was really interesting, is that you sort of have that mentality where you want to learn and you want to get better. And sometimes it can be hard to face criticism or look at yourself or what you produce honestly. And it can sting sometimes, and that could shut you off or shut you down for a minute. But I think it's important that you can learn and be humble about what you do and improve.
It's super hard, man. It's super hard because you have to. There's like the prideful element, right? Like you put out a video and it gets like 500K on TikTok, and you feel really good about yourself, like the dopamine. You're like, yeah, oh my gosh, that video is so good. I'm getting so good at edit. Like you could think that to yourself, but you have to be real with yourself. You have to say, how can I really keep improving, and try to rip apart the video. And it's hard to do, but that's where you establish relationships with other creators, and you ask them, was that good? What was wrong with my gameplay? And you have to learn to do it yourself too, because you can't always rely on other people. And I try to do it in my job. Not easy, right? Because it's long hours. I'm often tired. So sometimes, like if someone's giving me criticism at work or about a piece of content, it could be difficult. Sometimes if someone's like trying to make a comment on a video, I like to go at people in the comments a little bit, boost the algorithm. But realistically, right, like what people say in the comments or what people say about me at work about the quality of my job, right? I already know how I'm doing, because I try to do a lot of reflecting. So I'm already well aware of how good or bad my content is on that given day. And someone's criticism is valuable to me because it either is a little bit less harsh than mine was, or it's a little bit harsher sometimes, right? So like it balances out and gives me sort of that color that I need to see the full picture, because I'm maybe seeing it like half the pictures in color or it's black and white. But having that other feedback and criticism, especially when you're like in the groove and you're not really thinking, is super important. And it's hard to get that mindset. But for me, like my faith plays into it a lot. Like I do a lot of reflecting and sort of like praying on like how I can make, just do my jobs well. And it doesn't always work out, right? Like maybe you have a bad lesson or you have a bad video, whatever, or you just have a rough day.
Yeah.
But that's my focus. Is I really want to do both of them as well as I can. Whereas before it was like, there were times where, when I was trying to balance streaming and teaching, like I wasn't doing either of them particularly well. I reflected. I was like, well, then what am I really doing here? Like, am I trying to, not give my all to the kids that are in front of me, or am I trying to, not put my all into the videos? Well, it's going to catch up one way or the other, right? Like the kids aren't going to do as well. And I've been teaching some of these kids, for like 3 years. So it's like that they've stayed at my middle school for like 3 years. We're working with like 7th through 8th graders. So it's a tough set of years for them. And I know that. And I want to be the best support I can for those kids with different clubs, sports, things like that. But also just give my all the content. And it's super hard. Like it's super demanding. And even now I have my scheduling, trying to figure out a way to balance that, but still want to give it my all.
No, you're doing a good job at that. But yeah, it is like you said, reflecting and assessing yourself honestly. I mean, it can lessen the blow. It can either when people comment or criticize you, it either reinforces what you already know, or it could sometimes even give you, and it should give you a fresh perspective, and you should probably take that on board a lot of the time, but also learn to separate some of the trolly comments and switch off.
Oh yeah. Like I had this guy on Facebook. He's like, "Why do you respond to all the trolls, bro?" It's like oh no. Like I wanted him to understand it is not bothering me. I'm strictly replying to people for the entertainment for myself. And the engagement as well. Like the entertainment for myself because I love it. Like I used to get in like Twitter fights, man, on Twitter. Like before I started using Twitter like for sports and content, I would literally just reply to people's political and like sports posts and just like try to like debate them for fun because I enjoy it. I have this friend in college. We used to debate everything, right? Like it was, but we love each other, right? Like it wasn't like we were actually going at each other, but one of my friends would be like, "Yo, why are you guys debating right now? Can we not do that?" And I'm just like, but it's fun. His name's Drake, so shout out. His name's Drake, so shout out to Drake. But we would just like, we have a really good relationship. But we would just debate everything. So like when people come at me, like I actually had a guy on TikTok yesterday who was giving me a hard time, right? He was like saying, "Oh, you're trash at the game, blah, blah, blah," like talking smack. And I'm just like talking smack back in an appropriate way. I know I didn't say anything crazy. But I'm like talking smack back. I'm like, "Listen, man, you don't want the smoke. I don't have time for this." And he's like, "Let me in there 1v1." And I'm like, "No, that's exactly what you want. I'm not going to give it to you. Like I'm playing with my friends right now. If you want to 1v1 me, seriously, become a member or a subscriber on TikTok." Because I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not actually going to 1v1 this guy because if he's sitting in a TikTok chat, he can't be that good.
No.
Right? If he's talking smack. And that's the other thing is you got to know what your skill is. Like I know I'm not the best player in the world. I know I'm decent, but I'm not the best player in the world. So I know what I need to work on. That guy's opinion really means nothing to me. I'm literally just replying to him for the engagement. And it was working because like my TikTok stream went up from like 10 viewers to like 20 to 25. Like people were watching for the beef. It was kind of
it's like one of those Jerry Springer shows where people just want to watch, see what happens.
Yeah, and I was having fun with it. And I had a tired day. So like he was trying me on the wrong day. But at the end of the day, like I 1v1 members all the time, and I get content suggestions and comments from members on Discord and on YouTube. And I actually do listen to those, and I've done videos that like people have suggested. You can't do them all, obviously, people know that. But yeah, I have done a lot of the suggestions that viewers have sort of asked me to do. And even some random people have had really good comments like, "Hey dude, great video. Can you slide your controller cam and amount of deaths and face cam like into different locations so it's easier to digest?" I'm like, yeah,
nice.
I can easily do that. Next video, boom, I have a new format for it, and then I keep changing it based on feedback and things like that. Like feedback from YouTube and the community is super valuable. And then you just have to know when someone's trolling you. Like I usually just reply to those people, but now it's like, and this is a blessing too. It's like I might have 3,000 to 4,000 like comments on YouTube that I haven't been able to respond to. And I just look through, like quickly skim through, like I'll just do a quick scroll, and if there's someone that said something like, "How do I get better?" or "Hey CPreds, you have any advice?" I go and reply to those comments, or members of the channel, which I have about, I think like 65 or something like that right now. If they comment on a video, I always make sure to try to like theirs or like put a heart on YouTube and then reply to theirs, since they're supporting me in that way. They're like Twitch subs. It's like it's worth replying to all of their comments when I can. I still have some I need to catch up on, admittedly, but there's a lot of comments.
When did you find that tipping point where it became too much to keep up with? Because I know I look at all comments, whoever likes it, I might even scroll their profile for a bit, but there's one video of mine that went viral that I could not keep up with, and I could, it's impossible. It's just a matter of time. There's not enough time in day to sometimes keep up to date with everyone.
No, you can't. And I think that's one of the things about TikTok and YouTube that's fun is the people that are like earlier to your video, like if they're followed or subscribed and they comment early, they'll see that you can reply to it. I have a video that had literally 3,000 comments on the video itself. I couldn't even read half the comments because there were so many, which was cool, right? Which is cool. And it's happened quite a few times now where like my initial video that blew up on YouTube had, I think, like 400 comments. And I could barely read all of those. I had a TikTok this week that I think's around 450K or so, last time I checked. It might be higher. And it had like 260 comments. Like I can't read.
No.
Apply to the ones where people were like like a few people were commenting like, oh, the controller cam's a little bit off, whatever. I replied to those people, but then people keep commenting the same thing. I'm not even gonna bother replying. Right? Like they can go look at the other comment, but people don't. That's the funny thing. Like people don't look at the other comments.
They really don't.
So I usually just like a few comments, man. I pin one or two or my own message of like, hey, thanks for watching the content, and then I move on unless it's like one of my like community members or someone else that's commenting. But other than that, you know, you might get the occasional like hate comment, whatever, but keep in mind, it's always the vocal minority that's doing that, right? Like they're going to be more vocal as the minority of people who didn't enjoy it. Like look at the like to view ratio. It's around 10%. Then the video was decently solid because 10% of people liked it or commented, which is really good. So like some of the videos I've had in this past week, my engagement rate. So I'm big into looking at the data. My engagement rate on TikTok about 3 weeks ago was 8%, which is okay because some of my earlier videos are weighing it down. Like some of my early videos got super low engagement rates and super low views. So they're bringing it down, or actually they're probably not contributing as much, but maybe like my first viral video got like 4% engagement. It had 100K views, but only 4% engagement. Well, some of my recent videos have been creeping up towards 10. And at one point this week, it actually said I had a 10% engagement rate. Went back down to 9 after one video that popped off. It got like 200K plus. It only had 6%. So it brought it down. But I think the thing is, look at that engagement rate and see if people are actually engaging with your content. If you have like a 1 or 2% engagement rate, which I've scrolled on some other creators that, you know, like I've had some people reach out and say, hey, can you look at this thing for me? I'm just starting out. And it'll have like 1 or 2% engagement. And there's nothing wrong with that because they're just starting out. You know, I had videos that literally might have had 0 engagement, right? Whatever, when I first started. But look at that, because if people aren't liking the video, then there's got to be something that's making them not like it. So what is it? And you can even see on TikTok and YouTube when people actually click out of the video. So what I would do is I would look in there and see when the most people left, and it's like, okay, that line was not good. Let's not use it again. But there's other lines, right, that like I'd have other creators say to me. I remember I had this other creator once tell me, yo, that one line was so fire. And I've reused that line a few times and people love it. I think the line was something like, and as something happened, I did something you would never do. Like that was the exact line, because it just intrigues people. And that was one of my original viral videos. Like I have 4 or 5 videos that like initially went viral. Like after I talked with Corrupt and he gave me feedback, I had this one video that really clicked for me, and it didn't even do that well, but it just really clicked. The video was, and maybe I'll link it to you after the podcast here. It was a 15-second pistol out of the air in Caldera, right? A pretty trash clip. If we're being like, pretty trash clip, nothing special. But for me, everything changed when I made it. And it was when I started treating my content. It was sort of like, I don't know if you've seen the Stony Stark on TikTok.
I have not, no.
Okay, check him out like some other point. He has like, I think around 3 million on TikTok, but he does this storytelling content that is sort of like a movie. So I was thinking about TCAP, I was thinking about Stony, and I was thinking about Corrupt and like how all their styles are unique. And I tried to make my clip a little more like a movie and story instead of just a clip. That was sort of the breaking point for me, actually. Like this one clip, it only got 3,000 views at the time. But just wait until you sort of hear what happened with it. So it's 15 seconds. Someone tries to shoot me out of the air. I turn on him and drop him out of the sky with like 3 bullets. So dropped him. But basically in the clip, I was like, and this little guppy tried to shoot me. But he's not going to get the best of me or something like that. And I did it with like a super like dark and
dramatic,
like deep sounding like Batman voice with some like dramatic music, text that was a little more colorful. And then I was like, the next time you try to drop into Caldera, don't try to shoot someone out of the air because you'll end up on the ground, or like something like that, like some sort of line. And it did nothing at the time, but I remember I tweeted it out, and I remember like Cup of Joe, like I think saw it on Twitter and like liked it on TikTok. I was like, oh, maybe it was good if Joe liked it, because Joe's a busy guy if he took the time to like it. And then Corrupt replied to me and was like, holy, and then he messaged me on Discord and he's like, bro, do that style, like that's it. And I was like, okay. So I started trying to tap into that style, and about 2 to 3 weeks later, I put out a storytelling video of my new PR, which at the time I think was 26, 27, and how I lost it. And I treated it truly like a movie. I started off, I was like, PR pace, 20 up. This has all the makings of a great game or something like that. And then I went into it and I was like, I put in a line about the Titanic. I put a picture of a dude from Princess Bride and a little line from that. And then I put up a line like about like Caesar. I was like, as I make my journey like Caesar, I meet his same fate, shot from behind. And so like I was really getting into it. I was having fun with it. I put it on TikTok, man. It started going crazy immediately. Then the first hour, it had like 1,000 likes, which for me was insane at the time. That was insane. And it slowed down quite a bit, and it ended up with, I think, 6,000 or 7,000 likes. But for me, that was more than I've ever had, bro, on a video. Like, it really clicked, and I was like, holy crap. So that other video didn't do that well, but it led way to this one.
Yeah.
Then I made 2 others in the next month. I missed a lot. Like, I tried to make another video, and I missed. And it was because I didn't really understand at the time what made that video do well. And then I understood. I had a loadout in there. I had a story to it.
Yeah.
It had good music. It had good text. And then I just kept upping the quality, right? I kept upping the quality of my lines. I kept focusing on having that good line, the music, the text, all of it. I started really trying to holistically focus on that. And then here we are now. I had, at the beginning of August, I had 3 videos that got above 400K on TikTok in like basically 1 week's time. And they're all pinned on my profile. This week, I've had 2 videos go above 200K. I have one that was at 50. The last time that I checked, it was around 50, and it's like it's all coming together on TikTok, but it didn't at first. I had to make that one video and sort of figure out my style and what worked, and then go from there.
Dude, that's insane. I love that.
Yeah, it's all a process. Like, it doesn't happen overnight, and even now I'm still growing and trying to find my style and my content even more every day, and just try to make content that I enjoy making that's going to help people in some way, or just provide entertainment, right? You can go about it one way or the other. You can make content that's entertaining, that's funny, but what I think some people do is they just chase the likes or whatever works, but they don't really know why it works.
Yep.
And that was me. And here's where I was going with that other video. So that original video that I posted that got 2 or 3K, and I felt really good about it, but it did not pop off on TikTok. I reposted it about a month ago on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook. Facebook, I don't think it actually, I forget what it did. It probably not as well because Facebook's a little bit harder. But TikTok, it got, I think, 15K, which is not crazy for me right now, but it was way more than it was the first time I posted it, which shows that maybe building up a following and people enjoying my content has helped and sort of like, I mean, it's weird, man. I commented on like Swag's video the other day. Like I don't know if you saw the funny video that he made with Nadia.
Yeah.
So I commented on that pretty early on, and I said, bro, with like a laughter emoji. And I checked back later because I didn't think anything of it. I just commented on Swag's video. He gets a ton of comments. I look back, and there's a few creators that commented on it, and all like there's people commenting on all of the creators, and now me saying I love your videos, blah blah blah, because they saw my comment on Swag's video, and 2 people commented, and I had 120 likes on my comment, and people commenting on my comment on Swag's video. And I was like, this is really weird, man. Like I was like, this is weird that people are like seeing me on the video and recognizing me, but it means to me that I've made sort of an impact on people, or like people now know my content. And then I went to repost that video on YouTube, right? It got 250K views. Whereas the video started off with 2 to 3K on TikTok and like 100 on YouTube, 100 views.
That's insane.
So
did you touch it up better? Did you change it at all? Or was it the exact same?
Reposted the exact same video.
Wow. Holy crap.
So to the creators that are sort of struggling out there and you haven't really found your way yet, it's going to be awkward. It's going to be painful at first. Just like any job that you start off, you don't have the skills at first. You don't have that creativity or that like critical thinking. But once you figure out what's going on and you sort of get your footing together here, I guess, your like solidity, that's where you can really pop off.
Dude, I feel that. No, oh my God. The everything you've said has hit home for me personally as well, because I'm still in that process of figuring out what I like to post and what I enjoy making and what I can add to it. And I'm so inspired by the way you're talking about right now. It's insane. I just want to go make some videos right now.
Yeah.
But no, that's super inspiring. And I also appreciate, I've also reached out to you with a few questions here and there, nothing crazy, but that you've had taken the time even just to reply and give some advice, which is really cool of you.
Yeah, no problem, man. I mean, creators have done it for me, right? Like people that I become friends with, or even like, I remember an early video that I made, I sent it to a few creators, and they all reached back and just sent me some thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And if someone messages me on Discord, I'm always gonna try to get back to it. Now there are like people who just ping me like, "Can you play Warzone with me?" and they just keep spamming that. I'm probably not gonna answer
No,
those people.
no.
But you know, anytime someone needs feedback, that's what I'm sort of there for. And I even have one guy who pays for like a membership tier where I give him gameplay and content advice. And so that's one of the things is I have a whole tier for that on YouTube, which is another great thing about YouTube. But
Yeah, that's cool.
yeah, I'm always just trying to help. I think that's the teacher in me, and also just sort of like how my parents raised me. Is like I'm always trying to meet new people through whatever it is. Like I love creating those friendships and cultivating those and seeing people get better. Like I have a friend right now, Kirchi, who's been really grinding his content, and his content's getting better, like based on, you know, mainly his hard work, but like some of the ideas that he's talked to me about and he's asked for feedback, I can see his stuff getting better. And it's really cool to see that. It's really cool.
I love that. It's not like you've got the secret and you're trying to keep it away from other people. It's like, you know, you help someone else out who will grow, and that in turn helps you as well, because that's more community, more people who know you from them, kind of thing. So
exactly. It's all about that community, even if they're not in your stream, right? It's all about that community of just like meeting more creators, and it's just I love it. Like I have no other words other than that. I just love it. So
where to next? What's the next goal?
I think the next goal is probably shortly after Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. I want to hit like 50K on YouTube. I'm only at like 26 right now, but you can really build up momentum if you just put out videos and put in the work on it.
Yep.
So that's definitely a goal. So I think probably 50K on YouTube would be the next goal by Modern Warfare 2. I think I could definitely achieve that. And then I think another goal outside of that is probably just like 200K on TikTok. But outside of like the actual numbers, I think my goal is just to keep grinding and improving my short form and long form content, and just see some of my community members improve at the game. That's been super rewarding, and just see the community keep growing. And I want to maybe cultivate that a little more in Discord. So yeah, we only have about like 300 people in the Discord, so I want to try to get some more people in there.
Yep.
And yeah, other than that, I mean, it's just business as usual. Just keep going.
Do you feel like you've got a grasp on your analytics? Because like you said something as well earlier that spoke to me, was that sometimes something pops off and you don't know why, and then something's like, I've experienced that as well. Something I've put a lot of effort and I thought, this is hilarious, I'm going to post this, and it does really badly. Yeah. Do you feel like you've got a grasp on why that is now with your kind of stuff, or do you still get surprises?
I do. I don't get as many, no.
Okay.
The only thing that'll surprise me is a video does more than I intended now.
Okay.
If a video does poorly, I probably know before I post it, but if I have an idea and I'm not feeling good about it, that's happened several times. I had one that was actually exposing like a hacker hunter, you know, those people that are like, oh, cheats. But so I put that up and wasn't sure how that was going to be perceived and do well. And the engagement rate was actually significantly down. It got about 40,000 views, but the engagement rate was super low. But I did get some quality comments and engagements there. Okay. And other creators saw the video, which was interesting. So they commented about it to me, like some other creators. But for example, with that video, where I look at the watch time and engagement, like watch time and engagement are the two things that you really want to look for. So on YouTube, it's like the average percentage viewed. So like I had a short last night that had 101% watch time.
Yep.
Means people are rewatching it. It was about 25 seconds. That video is going to get pushed through the algorithm way easier, but if you make a video that's 55 seconds that had 101, it would get probably 1 million views. Wow. So that's the thing, is you have to find a way to keep people watching the whole time.
Yep.
There's a lot of different ways you can do that, but it's all really on TikTok, by the way. Watch time is king, and then things like follows and shares play in. So people share the video, subscribe or follow on the video itself, it'll push it out more. Like I had a video that had only like 55 or 60% watch time, but it got 20K views because a lot of people liked the video.
Yep.
And I gained like 100 subscribers from it. Okay. And so it pushed it out, and then I got more subs, etc. So that's kind of like the secret. And then with TikToks and shorts, they burn over time. So like I have shorts that are still getting, you know, thousands of views every day that I posted 2 or 3 weeks ago. So And if you think about it, that's a crazy opportunity because that means you're getting thousands of views on some content.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because that means you have a lot of opportunities to reach people. And I think what people don't realize about TikTok and YouTube is there's such great opportunity there. If you just improve your content, like you can get thousands of impressions or opportunities to interact with people on YouTube. Even when I'm scrolling YouTube myself, right, I see creators that I've never seen before popping up in my feed, and I might not click their video because it was just MP5 class, right? It's like, so how do you make your thing stand out? So when people see those videos, because they will see it, how do you make them click, and then how do you keep them, and how do you make them feel valued?
I feel like that's also a common misconception that you also mentioned earlier, was that people think I'm shadow banned, I've got something's wrong with my account or something like that. It's like, not really. These platforms want people to watch your videos. It's probably more that it hasn't hit. It hasn't caught on kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's honestly the harsh reality. Like, it sucks at first when you're putting a lot of time and effort into your videos and you feel like people maybe don't like your videos as much as you enjoy them, or other people, or you think they should enjoy them. But that's where you have to look at the analytics and say, where are people clicking out? What about my style isn't really clicking? What's not great about it? And how can I fix it? And that's what I'm still trying to do every single day, is how can I just make my editing better? How can I make my delivery better? And in that way, it's very much like teaching. So that's why I think it's been an easier sort of switch for me.
What would you say to CPreds early 2021, starting out with the Xbox webcam?
Man, that's a great question. I think I would probably say to myself, do you know what you're about to start right now? Like, do you know what you're about to commit to? Like, you think you're just about to stream in Z League and just play some games on stream, but do you know that by signing up on Twitch and starting this, like, this is what's about to go down?
There's no way you'd know. There's no way.
Yeah, no, there's no way. And I would probably warn myself, to be honest, and evaluate what life was going to be like when I started. Because, when I was first streaming, it was fine. It wasn't that much of a commitment because I wasn't editing, right? So I'd stream for like 2-3 hours, like every other day, sometimes every day if I was really feeling like playing the game, which at that time, Rebirth was super fun. So I was. And I would do that. But I had no idea what, especially as it got later in the year, in that fall, I had no idea what I was about to bite off. So, yeah, that's probably what I would say.
Nah, that's insane, man.
Yeah,
I've really enjoyed watching and looking at your content. So I went through and watched a few earlier videos, a few recent ones, and just going through some of your stats and stuff like that. It's been really impressive getting to know your content, and hearing you talk right now is super inspirational, man. It's been a really good chat.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity.
No worries, man. Hopefully we can have you on again sometime in the future. But yeah, man.
It'd be a pleasure, man.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, brother. Appreciate it.